There's the trophies there as we look back to the big crowd here. Liz van der Horst, the #1 qualifier into this final, finishing with a marvellous average of 201.7. And she's bowled the house down here, but left one standing there.
Yes, well, as we saw towards the end of the match play rounds, Liz is starting to favour that ring finger of hers. It's taken a little bit of skin off the heat of the match, the heat of the bowling centre, the humidity here at Newcastle, taking its toll on those tender fingers, those slender fingers too of Liz van der Horst. But it's only a couple of games now before she wins one of her most important titles, and certainly she would love to beat the Australian Bowler of the Year, Cheryl Munson. Both of these girls, incidentally, know about our forthcoming big matches against the American professional bowlers in the middle of next year, and they're both very eager to get some wins and points on the board for that one. Cheryl Munson needs to win this first game.
It's a beautiful delivery. Look at the high backswing up there. Very balanced coming out.
Oh, what great pin action for Cheryl Munson. And as I said, she has an excellent television record. 246 in the Coca-Cola Gold Pin Classic recently. 244 in the Western Open finals.
Gee, they're good scores, aren't they?
Oh, they're big games under any conditions, but particularly on television. But Liz, well, she's had a couple of games on TV now. Doesn't seem too fazed by the lights. She's probably just a little concerned that that finger is a bit of a nuisance to her. And, of course, she has the knowledge that if she does lose this game, she's got one more game in which to find some form and knock Cheryl Munson off for the laurels here at Newcastle. But look at Munson. Concentration plus behind the playing area. Doesn't look at the opponent bowl. Ooh, and that's a bad one for van der Horst.
Van der Horst, of course, should she win this particular game, it's over. Munson, coming from the second position into this final, has to win twice.
Cheryl Munson didn't look at her opponent bowl that time.
Is that a good move?
Yes, she always does that. She doesn't like to know what's happening to anyone else but herself. She's got to be concerned with #1 in a singles match, particularly a title match. And giving herself a bit of a razzing there. She didn't want to leave any pins standing. She would have liked to open with a third strike.
Kept the pressure on this lady, Liz van der Horst, who we've seen bowl some marvellous bowls during this tournament. Not quite up to that form at this moment.
No, she's rushing the foul line a little bit. And look at Cheryl Munson. Concentration plus. Ball well out in the lane. No problems with that spare, and she's a 24-pin leader after 2 frames. 49 plays 25 because van der Horst opened that second frame with a chopped spare. She got out of that one okay.
Sweetly out there. It's the Coke Newcastle Women's Open. Bennetts Green Bowl. Big crowd.
Yes, big time tournament up here at Newcastle, and tremendous response from the local media. The radio, the newspapers up here all been giving it plenty of space.
Steve Mackey with me here. 17 major tournaments in your career, Steve, so you know what the pressure's like out here today.
Yes, it's a terrible situation, but I tell you, I'd love to get back into it.
I was going to say, nothing like winning, though.
No, there's nothing like winning.
Certainly the high for one of these ladies is going to be just that.
Well, Cheryl Munson, a 6-time winner last year. Liz van der Horst, a 2-time winner last year. So we've got a couple of winners in front of us here, and that will give her some heart.
That might be the turning of the corner.
Only 21 pins the difference now, with a strike working for van der Horst. 3 pins to go for Cheryl Munson's spare, and she's got it. Good spare. Walked away from it. That's confidence.
And yet halfway down the lane before it had started hooking, it looked like a chance to miss.
Yes, let's have a look at that spare again. Ball going out and coming back there, and no problems. Well, a little bit of psych perhaps going on there. Munson's slowing the pace of the game up. Wants to get the game bowled at her pace perhaps. I wonder if that's a little ploy of hers.
Gamesmanship.
Nothing like it. It
Cheryl
works.
Munson.
Oh, well, maybe she should have got up and put the pressure on, because van der Horst has answered that situation with a double of her own.
Cheryl Munson, the more experienced of the two, obviously, would be trying to apply all the psych to the younger bowler.
Oh, look at that one! What a strike!
That's
Cheryl
the sort
Munson.
of thing that builds confidence, Steve.
Yes, it certainly does. Well, it builds her confidence. It won't do much for her opponents, of course. But, well, look, van der Horst, she doesn't seem to be too fazed by it. She's not taking any further time, any more time than she normally would. And there is that steely face. hoping that this one will be a strike as well. Yes, what a strike. We've got a match now. 11 pins the difference. 75 in the fourth frame to Cheryl Munson, 86.
This is Cheryl Munson, that high, familiar backswing we've been getting used to. That's an awkward one. Left 2 up.
Yes, but it's convertible, and Munson will be aiming for the left-hand side of the 5-pin, and she's just motioning there that she had her arm away from her body. When she pushed the ball away, she didn't push it far enough to the right, and she brought it up behind her back in the backswing. The result, of course, these 2 pins. Well, left-hand side of the 5-pin. Can she get it? Hushed crowd.
How does it look?
No, I think she
the one out.
Well, I think she did
safe.
the right thing. I think she did the right thing. A one-game match. Yeah, I would have gone for the 1, I think, because she couldn't afford to have missed both of them. After a strike, it would have cost her 2 pins.
Vanderhorst.
Turkey working. Can it be a 4-bagger? Looks all right coming up. It's falling, but not quite the right way. Well, Vanderhorst now ahead. Look at that. 20 pins the difference, 24 pins the difference, as a matter of fact, in the second frame. Now she's the leader by 10. What a marvellous game this is.
Tucks it back. Didn't like it.
No, well, the frame before, she went wild and went to the left. And, of course, probably over-adjusted that time. Vanderhorst, a big round of applause for that spare in the 7th frame, because she's now the leader by 10. And Munson with these 4 pins staring at her in the face. Difficult cluster. You'll need to be accurate with this lead.
Both ladies getting great support from a good crowd out here at Bennetts Green. Now, can she do it?
Oh, yeah, but only just. We'll have another look at that one. Cheryl counting her lucky stars. That time, those 4 pins. Boy, the ball just hit one of them, but there they go. Vanderhorst, look at that concentration.
She's got one thing in mind, knocking 10 pins over.
Oh, boy.
She's not going to. Slightly to the left-hand side.
Yes, that's a result of rushing the foul line under pressure. Rushing the foul line under pressure will do that. Both of them did it. The last couple of times they've been up. Let's see if Munson's made a correct adjustment this time. That looks better. Oh, yes. What a beauty.
Vanderhorst straight on with the game.
Yes, not mucking around, but boy, maybe she should have mucked around a little bit. Maybe she should have taken a little bit of time. Inexperience coming through there. Rushing up when the people are applauding the other person's good result. Not a good idea. She'll learn plenty from this game, though.
Certainly will. Cheryl Munson now. In white stripes, moves in.
Oh, boy, what a ball. What a ball under the whip. Double for Cheryl Munson in the 8th and 9th. 9th frame, a most important one for all top bowlers. The foundation frame to perhaps a 4-bagger to finish the game with.
Not much in it, is there?
Well, the spectators willing that to go. They screamed, go, go, the 4-pin, but it didn't. And Cheryl Munson now. Look at that concentration. She's just looking out at those pins. The 10 pins that are going to be coming down on lane 17. She's going to murder them. That's the thought going through her mind at the moment. Not interested.
Anything, isn't she?
Yes, not interested in Vanderhorst's form or performance. There's nothing she can do about that. Well, we've got a pretty good game here all the same. Vanderhorst still has room for a 198 game, and
Puts
Cheryl
the
Munson.
sock on again, you'll notice, Steve.
Yes, cracking a bit of a smile too, but we're back with Munson. Munson just needs a good result now to win this semi-final. Looking for a strike. Oh, look at the pin rock, but it's not going to go. Well, I think she's pretty safe now. She's going to shoot a game in the small 200s. Vanderhorst's maximum is 198. And, well, she took a bit more time that time, perhaps.
Well, that means we go into a decider, does it?
Yes, it does. And perhaps she's learned a lesson. Rushing up there a little bit too fast. Well, getting rid of the rubbish now. Good idea.
Had Vanderhorst that lady on shot 1, this game, it would have been over. Munson's going to force her to another game. She takes that one out.
Well, of Munson's 4 Grand Prix tournament wins last year, 3 of them came from the second-seeded position. So will history repeat itself for Cheryl Munson? certainly has an opportunity to do just that, because we're going to be going into a second game.
She's obviously strong from behind, able to stand the pressure. As we can see here, the concentration.
That's a good win for Cheryl Munson to force a replay in the Coca-Cola Newcastle Open. A win by 202 to 173. 29 pins the difference. It was a lot closer than that, though, Lee, going into that 10th frame.
Certainly was, and one match to go to decide the ladies' champion in the Coke Newcastle Open. Strikes in the 4th, 5th and 6th took Liz van der Horst to the lead, but an open frame by her in the 8th allowed Cheryl Munson back into the lead, which he maintained to win by 29 pins. So Steve Mackey to the decider. This is the last game. The winner takes away the big cheque and takes away the title, the ladies' title in the Newcastle Open here at the Bennetts Green Bowl.
And that's a great opening for Liz van der Horst. Sure to get plenty of support in this match. And the men's final only went to one game. Pat Perry, of course, winning it easily, 244 to 185 over Chris Ward. But this one going to the second game, and that always makes for a lot more excitement.
What a start.
Both of them opening with strikes. There's no love lost in a title match. What a great opening for these two ladies.
Steve, from what you've said previously, Cheryl Munson very used to coming from behind in the second match, so maybe that's in her favour.
Yes, it could well be. She's won 4 Grand Prix tournaments last year, and 3 of them she came through the second game. But van der Horst, well, couldn't quite bring the ball up fast enough. The lane just a little bit too long for her, perhaps. The ball was coming up late, but not soon enough.
Munson.
Oh, yes. Good reaction from Cheryl Munson. She went over to lane 19 to pull the string then, and that's a double to open. Boy, she's good under pressure.
That is a brilliant start. Can this young lady skid? Oh,
dear.
You would have thought that impossible to take the first pin and not the one directly behind it.
Let's have a look at it. The ball coming up towards it, but not getting those fingers on it. I would say that the ring finger, I can see it from here, as a matter of fact, Lee, and she's lost a bit of skin on that. The skin is hanging off Liz van der Horst's ring finger. That won't make it easy for her in these last 8 frames. Particularly with Munson, a double out in front. Looks like a turkey. Yes, she got it! Another one. Have a look at this 4-pin. Go late.
Very late. She had almost walked back.
Yeah, well, she turned her back on it.
She did.
Van der Horst.
Van der Horst needs some success now.
She's got it.
Yes. She was looking down in the dumps after the previous shot.
Yes.
Boy, oh boy, that's lifted her back again.
Yes, it's a criminal game, this one, sometimes. You can feel so good when you get a few strikes, and then you just need a bad break, or what you think is a bad break, and boy, it can put you off. Munson working on a turkey. 3 to start the game.
A turkey's
3 strikes
in a row.
Will this be the 4th? It looks okay. Yes, she's got a 4-bagger. Boy, she's good. Oh, I just can't believe it under pressure. What a great effort. I keep on raving on about it, but it really is good stuff.
My word, it is. That's perfect till now in this game, of course.
Liz in all sorts of bother. It's not over yet, but boy, she's making it tough for herself. She really needed a strike there, and look at that. Steely-eyed, not terribly concerned about the situation. I guess she'd be happy with second, but she'd be disappointed after having bowled so well earlier on in the match play not to have won this.
It's certainly her form in that was, she looked unbeatable.
And a very nice round of applause for Spare. That's a great big crowd here. I'd say there'd be about 700 people packed into this 24-lane centre just south of Newcastle.
Cheryl Munson trying for 5 strikes in a row.
You can literally hear a pin drop.
You can certainly hear the ball drop, and have 2 of them up there.
Well, we've seen her leave this one in a previous match, but she got up to win the game all the same against Van der Horst in that semi-final. I think she might go for this one. She's got a long way ahead. She's got a bit of room to move.
Oh, yes.
Well, that might have changed her mind. She may well now just go for the 1, because She can't afford to get an 8 miss after a string of strikes. 88 to 48. 40 pins the difference in the third frame. But it'll be cut down if Munson doesn't get this spare.
Missed it. Wowee. So the pressure.
That was close. Well, that's closed the gap, and Van der Horst can get very, very close now. In fact, only 16 pins away if she can add another strike on top of the one she's just had. 16 pins, nothing.
So the pressure on bowler of the year, Cheryl Munson. We saw a miss moments ago.
That's better. There's a strike for Van der Horst, and a big sigh of relief from the young lady, the 27-year-old from Sydney, as she's bowling against the 30-year-old Cheryl Munson, also of Sydney.
Starting to show some signs of fatigue too, both bowlers.
Yes, it's been a long day.
Cheryl Munson.
That looks okay.
Yes.
Oh, look at that pin action. Leo.
Getting a round of applause from her opponent, and that's certainly something to see.
Well, she knows exactly what's going on out there, and they both appreciate each other's good performances. And I tell you, there's not too much luck going on out there. They're really doing it themselves, doing it beautifully too.
Liz Van der Horst.
Oh, she didn't need that.
Ooh, she certainly didn't need that.
She didn't need that.
Is that convertible?
Yes, it's convertible, but at this stage of the game, she's going to have to go for broke too. She's going to have to go for that one, and Cheryl Munson, that's given her a big bit of leeway now.
It's Munson with that high backswing.
Looks okay. Oh, dearie, dearie me. It's not going to go either. Well, Van der Horst's got to have a go for it.
And quickly does have a go for it.
No, she should have given it a better try than that. They're giving her a round of applause all the same, but she really should have tried to slide that pin across the deck. That would have really given Munson something to go on with. 5, 8, 10. The legacy of a ball dropped from a great height instead of lifted out on the lane. Was in the right place for a strike, but that's the result.
What now? Two of them.
Playing it safe.
Playing it safe.
Well, we've still got a pretty close game here after the 7th frame, coming into the closing stages of this match. Only 18 pins the difference. 124 for Liz Van der Horst bowling now against 142 by Cheryl Munson. Bowling at a pretty good pace under this pressure.
She needs a strike now.
Look at that rocking 8-pin.
I guess sometimes they fall and sometimes they don't, Steve. You get those days, do you?
Yes, you do, and that was one of the days that it decided to stay around.
Cheryl Munson right on target. She's reacting very strongly and positively to the pressure. This girl's rushing perhaps into a shot, is she? But she knocked it down.
Yes, she got out of that one badly. I don't know whether you picked the release there, but Cheryl got, Liz got to the foul line at 100 miles an hour and only just got rid of the ball before her feet went over the foul line. So she's going to have to sit down and take stock of this. 2 frames to go. This could be her 2nd major title, and it could be Munson's umpteenth major title. Still to be decided here at Bennetts Green.
Cheryl Munson consistently delivered that beautifully.
Oh, boy. Look at that. Boy, if that had been Muhammad Ali on the end of that punch of hers, then he would have been knocked right out. And Liz is slipping away from her now. She's going to have to hope for a miracle to win this tournament. In fact, a very large miracle. I think she can sense it.
Cheryl Munson with the tail in the air now is not going to let things slip by that easily, I wouldn't think, Steve.
She's got a tail right up in the air now, and she may well just punch out, even though she's got the game very well and truly covered now. Well, that's the end of that. Liz Van der Horst, the top qualifier, is going to lose the final. And she can sit down and have a look at the tapes of this match, perhaps, and see what she did wrong, because a couple of very fundamental errors there, in particular, rushing the shot, Lee. Have a look at Munson.
We've seen it a couple of times.
Well, Munson's taking her time, and it's paid off for her.
Oh, look at this.
Yes!
She did a dance there, hoping to shake it over.
And she did.
Before the applause was gone, Van der Horst decided to get this over and done with now.
Yes, and an object lesson to her. She hasn't been around as long in the tournament wars as Cheryl Munson. She can sit down and look at this match, and she'll learn plenty from these 2 games, Lee, I'm sure. but Munson now going on to win her first Grand Prix tournament of 1986.
Once again, the consistency.
She's going to shoot another game, a big game. She's had 3 excellent games on television. 2:32 to beat Nola Crone, 2:23 to beat Judy McRae, 2:02 to beat Liz van der Horst in the semi-final, and now another big game, probably a 2:30 odd again. 4 big games by Cheryl Munson. Liz van der Horst shaking her head, knows that she's been beaten by Australia's top woman bowler. No disgrace that.
Cheryl Munson will finish
2:29.
A marvellous result. Steve Mackey, thank you very much for your great knowledge on this game and your help with our broadcast here. And by gee, the women have certainly lived up to it, haven't they?
Yes, they've got a great reputation in TV finals, and Cheryl Munson's done it proud today. She's had 4 big games on the NBN program, and none bigger than the 229 to 160, really when it mattered the most. 4 strikes in the last 5 shots. Great effort.
So the New South Wales, or the Newcastle at least, Open champion for Coca-Cola, and as you've said, the top women